for Alan and Tim. And look, I said we need the year, and the players. Hembo said we don't need the year. So the last time the Knicks and 76ers each had players on first team All-NBA in the same season, who were they?
At least Hembo got one win against Graz this week.
What you got?
You know what I mean?
I said he got a win on you on the topic.
I just want to know if you have a guess.
Joking over there.
No, I already read the answer, so it doesn't matter. I just
taking the answer from him.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I am the classic overthinker. I'm not going to do it this time. I'm going to go with Charles Barkley, Patrick Ewing.
You agree?
I'm going to agree.
All right. The correct answer is Charles Barkley and Patrick Ewing in 1990. Look how young those guys looked in those pictures.
I got the year
Did
as well.
get the year.
Yeah, technicality, I got the year as well.
Yeah, well, there you go. Good job. He didn't need the year, but he got the year, and that's the kind of role Hembo is on right now.
Power of growth.
So, moving on from that, for the sake of, Hembo's ego and confidence and family, Alan Hahn has a fundamentalist, which is this. Hembo, can somebody turn Hembo's mic off? Top 5 best moves of the NBA offseason so far. What do you got?
Well, to me, some of these moves are obvious and some under the radar. The first one we're starting with is number 5 on this side. Are we doing number 5?
Number 5 over there.
Number 5. I mean, while you were sleeping, the Pelicans traded for Dejounte Murray. Dejounte Murray, think about what they just added here to a Pelicans team that had a great finish to the season. Zion gets hurt, but he started to figure out, light went on. And here's a stat for you, Hembo. Over the last 3 years, this is on the internet, so I know it's true. Last 3 years, Murray has led the NBA in steals, total steals. Mm-hmm. Do you know who's second, Graz? You're really good at this.
I don't, actually, yeah.
Herb Jones, you know who he is?
Nope.
His teammate now.
No.
I mean, you gotta watch your dribble against this Pelicans team. They are bringing it. No Big Easy anymore in New Orleans defensively. All right, number 4. Miracles do happen, right? In New York, we love tabloid stories. Well, stop the presses. The Knicks and the Nets made a trade, and it worked for both teams. It's amazing. Mikal Bridges crosses the bridge, becomes a Knick, the final infinity stone to the Nova Knicks, maybe. What did it cost? Everything. 5 first-round picks. That's what it cost. So it's a deal that works for both. And you know what I can't believe? No one has tried this yet in the NBA. The core of a championship college team now gets together, try to do it in the NBA. UNLV didn't do it with those guys, Stacey Augmon, Larry Johnson, all of them. Where was Moses Scurry? Why couldn't we get him on a team with Greg Anthony? We didn't do it with a lot of the teams that you could have done it with. The Knicks are trying it in New York. All right. Number 3 is, again, one we talked about a lot. Mutual Admiration Society in Dallas. Klay Thompson needed a new place, a fresh start, needed a team that believed in him, that cared about him. Dallas Mavericks love him. They needed him because they need a veteran with experience and shooting. That's important as well. Catch and shoot threes over the last 2 seasons. Number 1 in the league, 43%. What was Dallas last season? And catch and shoot threes? Bottom 3rd in the league. Not very good. That's going to improve for Dallas. They are going to love him, and so is Luka, who hasn't had a teammate like this. Not like the way he can shoot. Number 2. This was dicey. This could have been number 1. Paul George to the Sixers. That's another obvious one, right? An eye-opening move. A great move. Daryl Morey gets his guy again. Shocking, I know. Big fish in free agency, and he gets him. And now, while the process is dead in Philadelphia, they are still alive when it comes to dragging Joel Embiid to a championship. That's what they need. And you want some history. For Joel Embiid, this is going to be the best team he plays with. Why? He's now got 2 All-Stars with him. Tyrese Maxey's an All-Star. Paul George is an All-Star. The last time the Sixers had 3 All-Stars in one season on the same team, all the way back to the 80s. Charles Barkley, Mo Cheeks, how about that one?
Yeah.
And Dr. J. That's how long it's been since the Sixers have had this kind of talent on the roster together. Last but not least, so behind the curtain, I'll let everybody know. TB, you know this because I texted you. I went to, knowing I'm doing this list, I went to all of our NBA hoop heads here at ESPN, and I asked them all, what's the one move that you feel like is the best move that you've seen so far in the offseason? Well, this one right here got a lot of votes. The Thunder going after Alex Caruso, bringing in Isaiah Hartenstein, as much as it pains me to say. This was the most popular answer, the most popular response.
Said best move. This is best move.
What if I told you that the number 1 team in the West got better? What if I told you that their top 4 defense got better? What if I told you that one of the youngest teams in the league got more experience, got everything they needed? And what if I told you that Alex Caruso is somebody that a lot of people think could have the same impact on this Thunder team that Andre Iguodala had on the Warriors and that dynasty getting started? We shall see a year from now.
Tim, what do you think of this list?
I mean, look, it's a good list. Again, I think we're talking about two moves in one here. Number one, which is a bit of an odd
I understand you have a problem with the
but no, look,
numbers.
Obviously all makes sense.
Is it moves?
Yeah, moves.
Right.
And look, I think you could argue that in the Knicks-Nets trade, the Nets got the better end of it. I understand why the Knicks made it. We're not going to talk much about the Pelicans for many reasons, but the Pelicans have no centers on their team. They probably need to get some centers at some point. They traded one of them away in that deal. We'll see what their team looks like. But the Thunder are the big winners of the offseason because they have the clear lead in the Western Conference to be in the NBA Finals next June.
Do we still have Bobby Marks? Bobby, I wanted to get your. There you go. But what's your take on Alan's list?
Well, you can blame me for number one because when Alan texted me last night, I gave him Hartenstein and Caruso. So I'm the numbers guy, and I gave him two guys instead of one.
No, most of my answers were that one. There were some others that stayed on the cutting room floor, but most of the answers were that. You were the first to respond, though, so I appreciate you for getting back to me right away.
Bobby, what about that? Yeah, what about that Knicks-Nets trade? Like, was there a winner in that for you?
I think both teams are. I mean, certainly, there hasn't been a trade between Brooklyn or I guess New Jersey and New York since 1983. And I teased and I said that New York had to pay like the New York State surplus as far as the tax goes when you're dealing with the Nets and adding two more picks. So two different timelines as far as both teams going. Certainly where New York is, championship or kind of bust, I guess, and where Brooklyn is certainly rebuilding. But that trade does not happen if Brooklyn doesn't get those picks back from Houston in 2025, and then that swap in 26 gets eliminated.
That was move number 4 on your list. Move number 2 is interesting because did you guys hear what our friend Mark Spears had to say about the new Big Three in Philly yesterday? Listen to this.
Oh, Sixers. They got Joel Embiid. They got the 3 best players amongst the 2 teams.
The 3 best players over Jalen Brunson?
Jalen Brunson, you're taking Paul George and Tyrese Maxey and Joel Embiid over Jalen Brunson.
Whoa, child.
All right, somewhere that is going to be a Josh Hart tweet.
What do you think?
I texted Spears also, so he gave me an answer as well. So I'm not surprised by that. You are betting on a team staying healthy versus depth. Right? And we said this yesterday. That's basically what this is going to be about. One team has depth. The other team has high-end star talent that does have injury history and concerns.
Let's answer the actual question, though. Do they have the 3 best players? No. Jalen Brunson is as good or better than some of the Sixers. What I would say is that the Sixers have 3 of the 4 best players. And so, yes, the Sixers don't have the depth that the Knicks do, but they do have the high-end talent. Typically in the NBA, high-end talent is what wins. However, the Sixers are very volatile high-end talent because their guys get hurt a lot, whereas the Knicks are one of the deepest teams in the league.
What's your best ability?
Availability.
You guys keep saying this. The way I remember it, the Knicks barely had 5 guys they could put on the floor by the end of their playoff run this year. Bobby, what do you think about what Mark Spears said?
I'm a big fan of Mark Spears, but I'm going to disagree with Mark Spears. I would take Jalen Brunson over Paul George any day of the week. So I don't think they have the 3 best players. Certainly they have, Embiid and Maxey compared to where New York's depth is right now. But I don't agree that Philly has the 3 best players here.
Which of those two, if you have Philly and the Knicks, and I said which one is the bigger threat to Boston in the East, Bobby, which one would you pick?
I would take New York. I just like how their roster, and there's still TBD on Philly because there's still a lot of moves to happen there. But as constructed right now, I think it's certainly New York based on their wings. Bridges, Anunoby, certainly, Julius Randle is the X factor here. Hart and DiVincenzo coming off your bench here. More continuity. I think continuity certainly matters in this case.
Good technicality by Bobby to say right now, since the Sixers currently have half a team. I do also think Philly's going to benefit a lot from the fact that we're seeing the bottom fall out on free agency now. There's going to be a lot of guys available on very cheap contracts, like Kelly Oubre, who re-signed with Philly. He was on a minimum last year, was fantastic for the Sixers. They also have the ability to add some salary to their books and be able to trade guys later. I think Philly's got a lot of work left to do, but I think they're going to be a lot better by the trade deadline.
The biggest concern for the Knicks is that they don't have another center other than Mitchell Robinson, and to go up against Embiid, that's a challenge. They got to find somebody.
Everybody chasing Boston. We'll see who did it best. Hey, the Formula One field is headed to great